SpaceX set records for the reuse of its Falcon 9 booster and the mass that rocket placed into orbit March 19 with the latest launch of Starlink satellites. A Falcon 9 rocket flew for an unprecedented 12th time Saturday, March 19, and came back down to Earth for yet another successful touchdown. The two-stage Falcon 9 lifted off from Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station at 12:42 a.m. EDT, 0442 GMT, on Saturday, carrying 53 of SpaceX's Starlink Internet satellites toward low Earth orbit. Saturday's mission marked the first time a Falcon 9 booster flew for a 12th time and brought the total number of Starlink satellites launched to over 2,300. The launch marked a return to the northeasterly trajectory that SpaceX used for the initial Starlink Shell 4 launches. Since Starlink Group 4-5 in January, SpaceX had instead been using a southeasterly trajectory with a dogleg around the Bahamas. This was implemented to avoid unfavorable recovery weather in the North Atlantic Ocean during the winter months. With spring coming, SpaceX is now returning to launching Starlink missions to the Northeast. Weather was 70% go on both the primary and backup launch opportunities, as published by the Space Launch Delta 45 Space Weather Squadron on their latest launch weather forecast. The main concern for both primary and backup days was cumulus clouds. In a tweet after the launch, SpaceX chief executive Elon Musk said that the launch was the heaviest Falcon 9 payload ever launched, at 16.25 metric tons. That means that the individual Starlink satellites weigh up to 306 kilograms each, depending on whether that includes the tensioning rods used to deploy the satellites and, if so, the mass of those rods. By comparison, the earlier generation of Starlink satellites weighed about 260 kilograms each. With this mission, SpaceX has launched 2,335 Starlink satellites, according to statistics maintained by Jonathan McDowell. Of those, 2,112 satellites are in orbit, 1,575 of which in operational orbits and nearly 450 more moving toward operational orbits. SpaceX also set a new milestone in booster reuse with the 12th launch of this booster, designated B-1051, which landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. The booster first launched the Demo 1 commercial crew test flight 3 years ago and has also launched the RADARSAT Constellation mission, the SXM-7 radio satellite, and 9 Starlink missions, counting this flight. 2 other boosters have flown 11 flights. The current fleet of operational Falcon 9 boosters has 12 active boosters, although B-1049, B-1053, B-1069, and B-1071 are being reserved for future flights and aren't currently in the regular rotation of flights. B-1051 became SpaceX's Falcon fleet life leader after passing B-1049 with its 8th flight back in January 2021. Although newer boosters like B-1058 and B-1060 have since taken the lead in the fastest time to get to their 10th and 11th flights, B-1051 will be remembered as the first to push the envelope in reaching these milestones. SpaceX has plans for a second-generation Starlink constellation, Gen 2, which will be launched on Starship and will have almost 30,000 satellites. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, has not yet approved this plan. The company also has permission to launch and deploy over 7,000 satellites with V-band capability. However, no steps have yet been seen in this direction, and it is likely that SpaceX has abandoned these plans altogether.